Hey guys, welcome back to XDrive Waxing, a UK one-wheel channel. So we are back in the workshop. We are getting into the 2022-2023 season, and this is the very first set of skis that we're going to be doing in this episode, as well as many more. This is a set of skis from a family of 3 that are going skiing at Christmas. Lucky people, lovely people as well. And that's one thing that I love doing, is getting to meet lovely people, talking about ski stories and having a look at their amazing skis. Now this is in for a full detail. We're going to give this a full edge. We're going to give it a full wax. We've got a little bit of tidying up. It's a little bit dry in places. But let's take a quick look at this set of Salomon. Okay, so Salomon XDrive. Lovely set of ski. Matching bindings. The 72 Salomons there. What we will do is we'll check the DIN settings on the front. I think we're 7 and 7. 7 and 7. This one here is slightly just about 6.75, 6.5. Not making a massive difference, but why we've got the screwdriver. Your DIN setting is just set in there. That's where the little white line finishes for your heel. And your DIN setting is here for your toe. And you have an adjustment screw just here. And you have an adjustment screw just on the back down there as well. Always do check those, because if they get knocked when you're in the in a ski rack or whatever, they can knock themselves out. They can either be adjusted, but also you've got the adjustment just here, making sure that's just adjusted. So that all matches this ski. But what's the condition like? Just typical, really. Bit of corrosion. We'll get all the edges sharpened up. I don't know if you can see that in the light very well. But yeah, just kind of like there's no real sharp definition between the rail itself and the ski. You kind of get that bleed, as you can see, all the way down the rail. We'll get that a lot shinier and a lot sharper and a lot crisper. Bit dry on the edge, bit dry in the middle. Nice to have a ski with no P-Tex. Standard corrosion on the front and your chatter marks from carrying them. I do have a solution for that once I do wax the skis. So for transportation to the first time they hit the beautiful snow, yeah, not too bad a ski. Same on this one, really. We flip this one over, same kind of story. We'll clean that up just with a scrape. Again, some old wax just there. And then we dull and tip the tails with the gummy stone to make sure that it reduces any catching. Quite dry there in the centre. So we're going to load this up with some nice fresh wax as well. So we're going to pop this in the stand. I'm going to pop you on time lapse. I'm going to turn some music on, and we're going to get these skis looking tip top. Here we go. Okay, just a quick before and after. Just run the base bevel file across the ski, and you can see where you can see this edge, and you can see where you can't see that edge, and that's the difference. So you're going to get the performance out of this side. This is lovely and sharp. You can see it just taking my nail off there, and that's no pressure at all. And we haven't even done the side rail yet, so this will come up lovely. Well, that's the difference in definition. That side, if it can focus, compared to that side. And that's the difference. Possibly hit that ice and you make that turn, opposed to not hitting that ice and hurting your hip or back, etc. So always worth making sure your skis or snowboard are fully tuned. Got a little bit of a gouge just here, so we'll be P-Texing just into here, but I'm going to do the rails first. I've just cleaned the base down just to see what it's like, and then I can scrape it. But yeah, there you go. One edge to the edge before. Tuning is key. Back in the stand, back to time lapse. Okay, so onto the side rail now. You can see that lovely definition in that rail. And we've sharpened that up, an absolute treat. This is, as you can see, no pressure with my nail, lovely and sharp. If we quickly scan down to the bottom one, again, you can see it's just black. And when you run your hand along it, you can actually feel and hear all the rust. And that's what we're doing. So we've pulled the base and the rail almost back to where you ski. All the way up through, look. And I like using the tools, and I like doing it by hand because you can measure the swarf. We'll just quickly focus in on that. You can measure the swarf that comes off. The least amount of metal that comes off, the better, because obviously the ski will last longer. But yeah, that is, camera's not focusing now, there we go. That is the side rail. So we're going to do the same on the other side of this ski, and then we're going to pop that ski in the rack, and we're going to do the base and sides on that. And then once we've done base and sides, we're getting on to P-texing and waxing. What I tend to do will be to edge both skis, and then we can get into waxing, because then all the equipment's out. But again, if you just have a look at this ski here, and then that ski down the bottom. Did a bit more silver on that ski towards the back end. But yeah, there we go. Right, back to time lapse. Right, so these Salomon XDrives are all waxed. They've been sat in the hot room now for quite some time, basically keeping those bases as warm as possible, absorbing as much wax as possible. Now the art is to take the wax off. So we're going to take as much of this wax off as possible, and then leaving that very fine layer on the actual base of the ski itself. We're going to clean off all the wax off the side rail, so we've got that nice sharp edge. And then we're going to be using a detailed brushing from horsehair to softer hair. And we've got a drill and a rotary. This thing makes my life a lot easier. From using the old handhelds, which you've got to go up and down, this does this process a lot quicker, but also a lot more intensely, so you get a higher polish on the ski. And that way then it makes it smoother. We'll then finish off with some Zardoff Teflon, and that will seal everything all in, and more importantly seal those metal edges with water repellent basically, and then we'll basically wrap them up but putting a nice layer of polythene or plastic in between the two skis, so when they're in storage between now and when they go skiing, and obviously in transit, they won't chatter and create marks. The skis are as best as they can. It's almost like I'm working on the side of the ski slope, put them on the snow, and they're ready to fly. So I'm going to burn through this now. I'm going to use the scraper. I'm going to use my scraper basically sharpener, because obviously you do need a sharp plastic scraper. And if you've seen in the other parts of the time lapse, you saw me disappearing possibly off camera, and that's because I've got the metal scrapers, and that's what you take the P-tex off with, and make sure that base is nice and flat and all that dead material. And these need to be sharp as well, so I've got a file just over there, and we run that through the file and get the edges of these really sharp. Then using your thumbs, we clean the base. Very much the same with the plastic scraper, but nowhere near as coarse. And that's pretty much the process. A lot of work though, dare I say. It's about 3 hours per set of skis to do it properly, and then you fettle as well with the P-tex and putting a little bit of epoxy on the top coat, just because there's some nicks and knocks, and I like to make sure that they're nice and watertight for the customer. And yeah, basically doing that personal touch. Anyway, I'm rambling on. We're going to get into these skis. We're going to pop some tunes on, and let's make them shiny and ready to fly. what I've basically done, I've taken off the top layer of wax, so I fill down the ski to make sure there's no tacky points, and basically if there is, I go back over it with the scraper until we get 95% of the wax off. Not pushing too hard because you don't want to be damaging either base. But then you go over to the horsehair brush. Now this thing's brilliant. Now you can use there's lots of different brushes. I tend to use a horsehair brush because it's stiffer than going to even a softer brush to polish. You can use a nylon brush, which is this kind of white one here. Kind of hard bristles as well. But this horsehair brush is extremely stiff. So it's kind of like a nylon, between nylon and horsehair. Basically what it would do, it will pull the wax out of the structure of the ski. So basically opening that structure up for it to go fast. And you'll see lots of little white ball bearings of wax, albeit as you can see here, and if I went over this with a scraper, you wouldn't get any more wax off of it without pushing really, really hard, and then you've got the risk of damaging the base. So you go over to this, we put the drill, be a bit noisy, and basically as we go up the ski, push it that way, we're going to actually wind the brush into the ski and you'll see the white powder come off. So white powder, white wax. As we go up, you'll see it collecting just there. And that's putting all the little ball bearings of wax out of the structure of the ski. Basically giving the ski, need a new battery. One battery there, new battery. You can see there, look. Basically it's polishing the ski at the same time. And this is where I say, by doing it by hand, it's great, but you don't get that deepness and you get that rich base then, and you've got that structure back open. So when you go over the ski, holds little pockets of air, I assume, or water, and basically off you go. So there we go. Back to time lapse. We'll finish the ski off, but that is what that little dusty stuff is. That's all the wax out of the structure of the ski. Okay, so these Salomon XDrives are all done, and as you've just seen from that before and after, the bases are basically all enriched back into black. We've got the definition between the rail and the actual base material. They are super sharp, they're super polished, and they're ready to go. I'm really, really pleased how these come out, and it's definitely well worth always trying to sharpen your skis and wax them, like I say, for every ski trip. And as you can tell, they look superb. The shine on them is fantastic. I'm really, really pleased how these have come out. Good shine on there. So yeah, there we go. One awesome set of skis. These are going to be wrapped up now and ready to go back to the customer, get popped back in their bag, and next time these see the daylight, hopefully, will be when they're just about to flop down on that snow and have a great time on the mountain. So guys, thank you very much indeed for watching. Don't forget, hit that like, hit that subscribe. But until next time, we will see you soon.